Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Julius Caesar. Specifically, we are in Act 4, the Scene 3. Remember the scene that I dislike the most in this play? Although I will say, first of all, what does it matter what I like? It's what you like. But second of all, the really annoying part is already done. And that, of course, is when Brutus and Cassius go into their tent and they have their ridiculous, childish argument where Cassius says, I'm going to mess you up. And Brutus says, come on. And Cassius says, I never said I was going to mess you up. And Brutus says, oh, I'm so sorry. And Cassius says, I'm sorry too. And they make up. And in fact, if you'll recall, very important actually, at the end of their argument, Cassius looks to Brutus and he says, I'm really surprised he didn't kill me there with all how far I took it. And Brutus says, you don't even know the half of it. Portia died. And Cassius is like, oh my God, what do you mean Portia is dead? And Brutus is like, dude, don't worry about it. I don't want to think about it right now. I don't even want to talk about it quiet about Portia. And he's like, oh my God, Portia, no. Why is Brutus so stoic about it? That's because that's what he follows. He follows stoicism. That's his philosophy of life, that you shouldn't show any emotions, reveal any of your feelings at any time, that you should hide them inside. And of course, doing something like that is a terrible idea because your emotions take over you if you don't examine them, accept them, turn them over, and realize what you're feeling. They can really come back to haunt you, as Brutus, ironically, is going to find out, but we'll worry about that later. Now, in this scene, they are done with their argument. They have told each other they love each other. We found out that Brutus is a stoic. We found out that Portia is dead. She said, apparently Brutus said that she swallowed fire. She committed suicide. That's what it sounds like. But remember, Bruce doesn't want to talk about it. He finally gets smart and he says, get everybody in here and let's talk about this battle. Now, of course, it's Brutus and his army and Cassius and his army. So that's two armies versus Antony and his army and Octavius Caesar, Caesar's nephew, who has recently come to Rome, and his army. So it's two armies versus two armies. Octavius and Antony, they argued for about 12 lines. They fixed it up. No worries. We're all good. Let's plan. They went and planned. These knuckleheads over here, Brutus and Cassius, argued for 135 lines, and now they're finally going to start planning. So they said, everybody come in and let's start doing it. And that's where we're going to pick it up. This would specifically be line 187 of Act 4, Scene 3. Enter Titinius and Messala. And Brutus says, come in, Titinius. Welcome, good Messala. Now we sit close about this taper here and call in question our necessities. And they sit. And Cassius, over to the side to himself, says, Portia, art thou gone? Cassius is still trying to digest this information like, OMG. Portia is dead. My best friend's wife is gone. And Brutus says, no more, I pray you. He's like, dude, please stop. Messala, I have here received letters that young Octavius and Mark Antony come down upon us with a mighty power, bending their expedition toward Philippi. Okay, so Brutus says, please stop talking about my dead wife. Now let's talk business. So he talks to Messala and he says, I have heard that Octavius and Antony are marching their troops to this place called Philippi. And let's find out. Messala says, I have the same. He says, myself have letters of the self-same tenor, which means, yes, he's got the same news. His scouts have found out the same thing. And Brutus says, with what addition? In other words, have you heard anything else? Now, this is interesting. Messala says that by proscription and bills of outlawry, Octavius, Antony, and Lepidus have put to death 100 senators. OMG. Do you remember when we left off? Antony and Octavius, not Lepidus. They sent Lepidus out of there. They called him an ass and they sent him out of there. Antony and Octavius were making their death list. Do you recall? One of them was actually Antony's nephews, one of those senators. And actually, it was also one of Lepidus's brothers, if I recall. We didn't know how many Antony was executing or having had executed. We just found out that Messala's news said 100 senators. Maybe it's an exaggeration, maybe not, but that's a lot of people. Remember why they killed Caesar, to stop a tyrant. Look what they have created. Sounds like a tyrant to me. Listen, let's go on. Brutus says, therein our letters do not well agree. Mine speak of 70 senators that died by their proscription, Cicero being one. Cicero one? Cicero is dead. And by that order of prescription, had you letters from your wife, my lord? So this is very interesting. One of their news said 100 senators. The other guy said 70. So it's somewhere in the middle. Let's say 80 senators have been executed. OMG. Plus Cicero. Remember, they tried to get Cicero in the plot, and they said, no, don't get him in. Brutus said, don't get him in. Well, it turns out it didn't matter. They killed Cicero anyway. But this is interesting. Messala is in a very difficult situation. Messala has news from Rome. What is one of the major pieces of Roman news right now? Of course, it's that Brutus's wife, Portia, is dead. And Messala knows this. He's not sure if Brutus knows it because Brutus isn't over here with red, teary eyes or lamenting about it. So he doesn't want to say, Brutus, did you know your wife is dead? And he doesn't want to be the first person to tell Brutus that your wife is dead because this is his general. He doesn't want to make him mad. So instead, he tries to go backwards around it. And he says, have you any letters from your wife, my lord? And Brutus says, no, Messala, which is true. He doesn't have any letters from his wife. But OMG, dude. Brutus say, no, I don't. I know that she's dead. Or no, because she's dead. But he lets Messala hang out there. And Messala says, nor nothing in your letters writ of her? And Brutus says, nothing, Messala, which is probably true as well. Brutus didn't hear by letter that she was dead. He heard by mouth, right? Somebody told him. So that's why he's like, no. But poor Messala over here is like, OMG, do you not know that your wife is dead? And then Messala says, that methinks is strange. And Brutus says, why ask you? Hear you aught of her and yours? Oh my gosh, Brutus, why are you making this man suffer? And Messala says, no, my lord. And Brutus says, now, as a Roman, tell me true. And Messala says, then like a Roman, bear the truth I tell. For certain she is dead, and by strange manner. And Brutus says, why, farewell, Portia. We must die, Messala. With meditating that she must die once, I have the patience to endure it now. And he goes, we're all going to die, dude. Don't worry about it. I already thought about it, and I'm good now. And Messala is like, okay. And Messala says, even so, great men, great losses should endure. OMG. I'm surprised Messala had the courage to say that to Brutus, but I agree with you 100%. No matter how cool and slick you can be, listen to what he says. Even so, great men, great losses should endure. I don't care if you're the king, dude. If your wife dies, you need to grieve, man. And Cassius says, I have as much of this in art as you, but yet my nature could not bear it so. And Cassius looks at Brutus and says, I'm a Stoic too, but dude, really? Come on, man, we've got to cry for this woman. And Brutus says, well, to our work alive. What do you think of marching to Philippi presently? Okay, so Brutus says, not talking about it. Let's talk business. So let's hear what we just heard. A minute ago, we heard that their news was that Antony and Octavius are marching their troops to Philippi. Right now, Brutus and Cassius are at this place, I believe it's Sardis, right? We're going to find out in a minute. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But wherever it is, where we're going to find out where they are now, it's on the high ground. Philippi is not high ground. It's more normal ground. So think about this. Think about if you're a general. You're sitting on high ground and two armies are coming towards you. You have two choices. You can go meet them out on the level ground, or you can wait on the high ground and wait until they come to you. Now, I'm not even a general. I was never even in an army. And I know that the smartest thing to do would be to stay on high ground. Why? As the other armies are running up towards you, you can do all sorts of mischief to them. Arrows, flaming arrows, giant boulders rolling down, bombs, all sorts of crazy wartime stuff. So by the time they get up to you, a couple of things would have happened. You would have depleted their numbers. They would be really tired. They would also be probably demoralized and scared, right? So all these things would mean staying there would be the most smartest thing to do, right? By far, the most obvious thing to do. Brutus, of course, is the master of mistakes, and he makes a monster one right now. But think about the timing. Think about the fact that they're here talking about the fact that his wife just died like yesterday or the day before, whatever. Very recently, maybe even today, maybe 2 days, whatever. Even if it was last week. And they're allowing Brutus to make decisions, even though he's dealing with this right now? No, the answer is no. You got to be out of here, buddy. We'll take care of this. But no, they're allowing Brutus to make decisions. So Brutus says, what do you think of marching to Philippi presently? In other words, leaving the high ground and going down to the low ground and fighting them there on an even footing. And Cassius says, I do not think it good. And Brutus says, your reason? Cassius says, this is it. 'Tis better that the enemy seeks us. So shall he waste his means, weary his soldiers, doing himself defense, whilst we lying still are full of rest, defense, and nimbleness. He's like, dude, we can wait, get all rested and comfortable. Well, they're walking towards us, getting tired, and losing men along the way. And Brutus says, good reasons must of force give place to better. The people between Philippi and this ground do stand but in forced affection, for they have grudged us contribution. The enemy marching along by them shall make a fuller number up. Come on, refreshed, new added and encouraged, from which advantage we shall cut him off. If at Philippi we do face him there, these people at our back. And Brutus says, but there's all these people between us, and as their army marches along, they're going to pick those people up and get stronger. It's possible, but most of the time, peasants don't join armies, Brutus, and he should know that. Peasants run, right? Cassius says, hear me, good brother. And Brutus says, under your pardon. You must note besides that we have tried the utmost of our friends, our legions brim full, our cause is ripe. The enemy increases every day. We at the height are ready to decline. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood lead on to fortune. Omitted all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries. Of such full sea are we now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves or lose our ventures. Brutus basically just said, dudes, we've got to do it now while we're strong and tough and while we have the fortitude. Because a lot of times what happens is if you get people ready and then they wait, then they lose their gusto, they lose their fire. And I want to go now. Now think about why Brutus wants to go now. Again, if he doesn't go and get into this battle, what does he have to do? He has to think about his dead wife and that he killed his best friend. Which one is he even hiding from the most? I'm interested in thinking about that. We could talk about that for a while. But anyway, if you go into battle, you don't have to think about anything, right? Except for staying alive. I'm sure that when people go into real battle, again, I'm not a battle guy, I'm an English teacher, but I'm pretty sure, let's say, that you probably don't think about much when the battle comes on. It's just that, right? Stay alive, let's fight. And that's what he's probably wanting to do. Let's just go fight now. Cassius says, then with your will, go on. We'll along ourselves and meet them at Philippi. And once again, not only does Brutus make the monster mistake, but Cassius goes along with it. And this time, Cassius, dude, really? I understood. And we understood why he had to go along with Brutus in the very beginning, why he had to, do what Brutus wanted. And one of those things was not kill Mark Antony, although they should have just killed Mark Antony anyway, the heck with Brutus. But because they needed Brutus in the plot, right? It was the only way they would have survived. It's not going to work anyway, ironically. But that's because of the mistakes they made after having done it, which was letting Antony live, letting Antony speak at the funeral, letting Antony show the body, letting Antony read the will. OMG. But now, Cassius making this mistake, now it makes no sense. So here they go. They're going to march to Philippi and now have even footing. And let's see what happens. Brutus says, the deep of night upon our talk, and nature must obey necessity, which we will regard with a little rest. There is no more to say. Cassius says, no more, good night, they stand. Early tomorrow will we rise in hence. And Brutus says, Lucius, enter Lucius, my gown. Lucius exits. Farewell, good Messala. Good night, Titinius, noble Cassius, good night and good repose. And Cassius says, oh, my dear brother, this was an ill beginning of the night. Never comes such division between our souls. Let it not, Brutus. Enter Lucius with the gown. Okay, Brutus says, everything is well. Cassius says, good night, my lord. Brutus says, good night, good brother. And Titinius and Messala say, good night, Lord Brutus. And Brutus says, farewell, everyone. I just find it funny that the last thing Cassius says to him is, I hope we never fight again like that. And Brutus says, don't worry, we won't. So all but Brutus and Lucius exit. So everybody's going to bed. It's late. Probably good to get your sleep. Probably actually great to get your sleep before a battle. Not only does sleep give you physical strength, but it also gives you mental strength, right? It's actually, sleeping is good for your brain as well as for your body. I think it's even more for your brain, just saying. So again, Brutus is not sleeping. Why not? Because of all these things that he's freaking out about. One, killing his best friend. Two, now his wife is dead. So yeah, Brutus is going to have a hard night. Listen, farewell, everyone. All but Brutus and Lucius exit. Give me your gown. Where is thy instrument? Lucius, here in the tent. Brutus, wouldst thou speak drowsily? Poor knave, I blame thee not. Thou art overwatched. Call Claudius and some of my other men. I'll have them sleep on cushions in my tent. So Brutus realizes that his guy, his servant, is falling asleep because it's probably like 2, 3 in the morning, dude, and he's tired. And Lucius says, Varro and Claudius, and enter Varro and Claudius. Varro calls my lord. Brutus, I pray you, sirs, lie in my tent and sleep. It may be I shall raise you by and by on business to my brother Cassius. Varro says, so please you, we will stand and watch your pleasure. Brutus, I will not have it so. Lie down, good sirs. It may be I shall otherwise bethink me. They lie down. Look, Lucius, here's the book I sought for so. I put it in the pocket of my gown. Lucius, I was sure your lordship did not give it to me. Brutus, bear with me, good boy. I am much forgetful. Look at this. Brutus doesn't even remember where he's putting his things. He hasn't slept in days. The mistakes are going to follow. And by the way, there's another thing. When you don't sleep for a while, not only do you make mistakes and you feel sick and ill and terrible, you can also see things like hallucinations, things that are not really there. Bear with me, good boy, I am much forgetful. Canst thou hold up thy heavy eyes a while and touch thy instrument a strain or two? Lucius, I, my lord, as it pleaseth you. And Brutus says, it does, my boy. I trouble thee too much, but thou art willing. And Lucius says, it is my duty, sir. Brutus says, I should not urge thy duty past thy might. I know young bloods look for a time of rest. Lucius, I have slept, my lord, already. Brutus, it was well done, and thou shalt sleep again. I will not hold thee long. If I do live, I will be good to thee. Music and a song. Lucius then falls asleep. This is a sleepy tune. O murderous slumber, layest thou thy leaden mace upon my boy that plays thee music? Gentle knave, good night. I will not do thee so much wrong as to wake thee. If thou dost nod, thou breakest thy instrument. I'll take it from thee, and good boy, good night. He moves the instrument. Let me see, let me see. Is not the leaf turns down where I left reading? Here it is, I think. How ill this taper burns. Okay, this is important. Enter the ghost of Caesar. Ha! Who comes here? I think it is the weakness of mine eyes that shapes this monstrous apparition. So he now sees his dead friends that he killed. It comes upon me. Art thou anything? Art thou some god, some angel, or some devil that makest my blood cold and my hair to stare? Speak to me what thou art. Ghost, thy evil spirit, Brutus. Brutus, why comest thou? Ghost, to tell thee thou shalt see me at Philippi. Notice, he says, I am your evil spirit, Brutus. And he says, why are you here then? And he says, to tell thee you shall see me at Philippi. Dude, I will see my evil spirit, a ghost at Philippi, this place that tomorrow I'm going to battle. I think this is probably a foreshadowing here, Brutus. You should probably cancel the plans to go to Philippi and stay here. Brutus, well, then I shall see thee again. Ghost, aye, at Philippi. Brutus, why? I will see thee at Philippi then. And the ghost exits. Now I have taken heart, thou vanishest. Ill spirit, I would hold more talk with thee. Boy, Lucius, Varro, Claudius. Oh, wait, Claudius. Lucius, the strings, my lord, are false. Brutus, he thinks he is still at his instrument. Lucius, wake up. Lucius, my lord. Brutus, didst thou dream, Lucius, that thou so criedest out? Lucius, my lord, I do not know that I did cry. Brutus, yes, that thou didst. Didst thou see anything? Nothing, my lord. Brutus, sleep again, Lucius. Sir, Claudius, to Varro, fellow, thou awake. They rise up. Varro, Claudius, my lord, my lord. Brutus, why did you so cry out, sirs, in your sleep? Both, did we, my lord? Brutus, I saw you anything? Now, first of all, did any of these people cry out in their sleep? And the answer is no. Brutus is hoping that when he says, did you see something? That they're going to say, yeah, dude, we saw that ghost a minute ago. Because if they all say they saw the ghost, then Brutus isn't crazy. There really was a ghost there. But if they all say, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. Then Brutus is realizing, uh-oh, just saying, let's continue. No, my lord, I saw nothing. Claudius, nor I, my lord. Brutus, go and commend me to my brother Cassius. Bid him set on his powers betime before, and we will follow. Both, it shall be done, my lord. They exit. And Brutus says, all right, go get Cassius. Let's go get this over with. I think Brutus is done. I think he's done with life right now. I think he's upset so badly. Well, I mean, he knows what he did was wrong, and he's lost his family, his wife, OMG. Although we don't know, does he have kids that he should be like taken care of and worried about? I don't know. Remember, even if he did, would we know? And the answer is no, because he's way too stoic for his own good. Even Cassius said, I follow the same philosophy, but I'm not that stoic, man. I mean, I'm going to cry when somebody important dies, when my wife or, some family member dies. OMG. And this is Cassius, the cold-blooded murderer we're talking about. Everything is so strange. Ladies and gentlemen, we have finished Act 4. This is huge, which means Act 5. Act 4 was just the build-up for the war. Act 5 is the war, and we're going to see what happens. And then this play is going to wrap up, and we will see who survives. Does anybody survive? It is possible that all the generals perish in this battle. It is possible that, I don't know. I don't want to give anything away. So let's wait and see when we read Act 5 tomorrow. Everybody, really great job. Thank you so much.